Hey, it is Anna here from Just a Mum's Kitchen. This week's video is going to be me making this delicious caramel slice. It is so easy to make, super decadent, super delicious, and I'm going to make it all for you and show you how I do each step. Okay, so the first step for this recipe is we're going to line our baking dish. So this is a 23 centimeter dish. You can use 23 to 25 for this recipe. I have a super simple way that I line my dishes, so I just wanted to show you how I do it. I think I've explained before that I like to spray cooking spray on it. It just allows the baking paper to stick really well. You don't need a huge amount, but it sticks. You can also use water, but I find a cheap little baking spray sticks really well. And then we will pull out some baking paper, just a little bit wider than what we're using. And then I kind of just lay it over the top like that, and then really roughly, using scissors I stole from my daughter's bedroom as always, I just cut little slits around about where the corners are. And then I just press it in. It's not perfect, it never is, but what it does is it just allows the paper to sort of create its own corners in a really simple way. Not perfect, but it will do nicely. So the caramel slice is made up of 3 different components. First we have the base, and then we have the caramel filling and the chocolate topping to finish. So first of all, we're going to make the base. Could not be easier. It is 1/2 cup of desiccated coconut, and then 1 cup of flour, 1/2 cup of brown sugar. Remembering when we use brown sugar, we always pack it in and then level it off. Pop that in there. Then we're going to give that a good mix around. Whenever you're working with brown sugar, sometimes it can clump when you're adding it with your flour. It's totally okay to get in there with your fingers and break up any lumps of brown sugar, just like this. Okay, so that is all beautifully combined. Now we are simply going to pour in some melted butter. It is 125 grams, my recipe tells me, and we're going to combine that together. The biggest downfall people tell me about this base is that it does contain coconut, which I personally think is wonderful, but I know not everyone loves coconut, so I am going to work on a coconut-free caramel slice base. So watch this space, I got you. And now we will pour it into our pan. We're going to press it into a nice even layer and then bake it in the oven. So just get in there with your fingers and press it into a nice even smooth layer. And then to finish it off, what I like to do is grab a cup. You can get these in Just a Mum's shop, a measuring cup, and just spread it evenly into all the edges till it is nice and smooth. So there you go, it's a nice thin base. We're going to pop this in the oven for 15 minutes or until it starts to get golden brown on the edges while we prepare the caramel filling. So while that is cooking, the next step is to make the caramel filling. It is so lovely and easy. I'm going to pour in the condensed milk into a small saucepan, a whole tin of condensed milk, and then 2 tablespoons of golden syrup. What's everyone else's golden syrup tins look like mine? Going to pour in the delicious golden syrup into here, 2 tablespoons of that, and then 60 grams of melted butter. And we're going to take that over to the stove and cook it until it is a beautiful golden brown colour. It's really, really quickly, so I always like to keep stirring it and try and keep the little edges from getting too brown. So I like to pretty constantly stir it with a rubber spatula, so I'm forever scraping the sides and the bottom. It's okay if it catches a little bit because it will just add to the flavour, the little golden brown bits, but we certainly do not want it to burn. I'm going to do this for about 8 minutes, and you'll see over that time that the colour of the caramel will begin to change. Okay, so you can see now that that colour is getting beautiful and deep, so we're going to remove it from the heat and get ready to pour it over the base. So we have this, it is par baked. You'll see it has a lovely little golden edge now. It has cooled ever so slightly while we made the caramel. So now we're going to pour the caramel sauce over this. You'll see it has changed to a beautiful golden colour now. So scrape every last bit of that into here. So then we just spread this out really nice and evenly, and this is actually going to go back in the oven. So this is how it gets an even more deep, dark caramel flavour and colour. Okay, it's a bit hot, but apparently I have mum hands that can do this. We're going to give it a little bit of a wriggle and a jiggle to smooth out the caramel. Then I'm going to pop this back in the oven to get even more delicious for about 12 minutes, and then I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, this is piping hot, fresh from the oven. You can see the top bubbling. It is a dark, deep golden brown. It smells amazing, as you can imagine. Okay, so what we're going to do from here is nothing, a whole lot of nothing. We're going to let it cool down, and then once it's cool enough to go in the fridge, it goes in the fridge for 3 or 4 hours or overnight, whatever suits you. And then we come back and we pop on the chocolate topping. So there we go. Okay, here it is. It is all beautifully cooled. You can see that rich dark colour. It looks quite firm, but actually when you bite into it, it's still going to have that lovely caramel softness to it. I often ask people if they like the edge piece or a centerpiece, and you can see why when you look at this. Maybe you can't, I have no idea. It is lovely and dark, so it's quite chewy and delicious on the edges. Anyway, enough excitement about my caramel. Now we're going to put a topping on. You can choose to do a basic chocolate icing. I like to do a chocolate topping for this one. I think it's not as sweet, so there's a lot of sweet going on in here. Chocolate, it costs a fortune. Butter costs a fortune. Everything does. So you use whichever chocolate you like, any dark chocolate. It can even be chocolate chips, chocolate melts, or your favorite dark chocolate. So that's what I'm going to use today. So we put 125 grams in here, and then we're going to melt this in the microwave, and I like to do chocolate in sort of 20-second bursts so that it doesn't overcook or burn. So we've just got the chocolate broken up in there, popping this in the microwave, 20-second bursts, and I'll show you the next step. Pretty much perfectly melted. When you are doing it in the little increments, that means that you can catch it just before it goes over. A couple of little tips when making it chocolate. As soon as you have a few lumps left, that's probably okay for you to bring it out and just stir it to melt those lumps. You don't want to take it too far or it will burn. If you ever find that your chocolate seizes, so you have cooked it a little bit too long, the trick is to add a couple of teaspoons of boiling water to it. What that does is it melts the sugar and cocoa that has solidified, and it'll bring it back. So never dump your very expensive chocolate when you are making it, if you're ever making it for fudge or things like that. So this is all ready to go. Now when I'm making toppings, I always add a teaspoon or so of oil, just a flavourless sort of vegetable oil. The reason for that is it helps it give it a little bit of shine, but also it prevents it from cracking. So if you've ever had a chocolate topping, you may have noticed that when you go to cut into it later, it cracks. So adding the oil just helps with both of those things. And the other tip I have for you for the cracking is you are going to obviously set this either in the fridge or on the bench. Once you go to cut it, bring it out about 20 minutes before you cut it so that the chocolate has slightly come back up to room temperature. All right, now trying not to completely burn my hands, I'm going to pour this all over the top. Okay, so then it's just simply a matter of using the back of the spoon to spread all of that deliciousness over the top. The chocolate will set up quite quickly on this because the slice underneath is lovely and cool. So working quickly, spread it to all the edges, and then just give it a little jiggle so that the chocolate evenly settles. That's it. Okay, I'm going to pop this back in the fridge now for however long it takes for it to set, and then I will bring it out and cut it up and show you how good it looks on the inside. Okay, here we go. We have this amazing slab of deliciousness. You can sort of see the layers in there. Now we are going to cut this, and I will show you just how good it looks in the middle. Okay, so here it is in all its glory, my little caramel slice. I think it is absolutely delicious. If you want yours to be a little bit thicker, all you need to do is make it in a smaller pan, so sort of something around the 20 centimeter mark, and it will be thicker. Or you could double your caramel. I won't judge, but I think this is the perfect little bite because it is very rich and very decadent. Thank you for following me along if you've made it this far, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. Catch you later.